So this is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren. Frank, we didn't see you at the Parker Ryder press conference yesterday. I'm told it was a bad back injury caused by lifting really, really heavy weights. I know you're too modest to confirm or deny, but how are you feeling today?
Yeah, I was lifting heavy weights. I was lifting up Derek Chisora last week.
Tyson Fury, yeah, one in each hand.
I'm struggling a bit with my back, mate, but I'll get that. Going to get that resolved over Christmas.
Well, you missed a good one, I think. That not overly fiery, but they were quite intense, and they're both very, very confident of winning, both desperate to win as well. How much of a risk do you feel this is for your man, Zach Parker?
I think it's a big risk for him, but we believe in him. It's a cracking fight. I mean, it's like going back to the sort of old days of the middleweight, super middleweight division. They're both excellent fighters, and John's done well for himself as of late. He was. I thought that fight he had with Callum, I thought there was nothing in that. And he had that good win against the Americans. So this is a tough fight, but at the end of the day, if Zach wants to get to where he wants to be, he's got to beat a John Ryder. So this is a big moment for him. And for John Ryder, if he wants to stay in the picture, obviously this is quite a crucial fight for him as well. So the winner winds up becoming the interim WBO interim champion. And all these people say, oh, so what? Who cares about interim champions? It means a lot. And they just don't understand it, especially most of the people in the trade who you talk to. If you're the interim champion, it means that, the champion, in this case, Canelo, will have to fight the winner. And for the winner of that, that's a big, big payday. It's a big fight. It'd be huge money for him, hopefully life-changing money. And the fact they're interim champion, you get better percentage if you go to purse bids. So for me, this is, I should say for Zach, this is a great opportunity, as it is also for John. It's a cracking card we got there. It's going to be a decent. I think it's going to be a really good night's boxing. We've got some good fights on there. So I'm pleased with what we're putting on the 26th.
And the other thing with the WBO specifically compared to the other sanctioning bodies is that if the champion were to vacate, the interim title holder gets upgraded automatically. They don't have to have another fight. That's
correct. So again, it's a critical fight. So for example, Canelo doesn't want to fight super middleweight, wants to stay up at light heavy, then they've got the title.
Yeah, and so this in effect could be a world title fight.
Well, it is. In effect, that's what it is. I mean, that's what it is, interim title. So they've got, both fighters, they've got it all to gain from this. So that's why I think it's going to be a real cracking fight. I really do believe that. And we got Hamza's going to be on there. We're just sorting out his opponent today. I'm hoping we're going to get the contract done today. We've got Dennis McCann on there. He's got his Commonwealth title fight. So there's some really good title fights on there. Some great fighters on, some great fights on there. Pierce O'Leary's on there. The title fight, who's quite like him. He's looking the business. So it's all good. Sam Noakes as well. So I'm delighted with what we're doing.
I spoke to Dennis yesterday. Now it might just be me, but he seems to have changed quite a lot. He seems a lot more kind of serious. Not, a bit more kind of focused than he has been in the past. He said he's got a great bond with you. You guys are very close. Have you noticed the change in him as he's grown up a bit?
Yeah, well, I think that's the bottom line of it. He has grown up. He turned pro at a very young age, and he was a young man, teenager. That's what he was, and he's developed, and he's married now. He's got a baby. He's a husband, so he's got a lot of responsibility, and he does take this seriously. I mean, He has quite a journey to get to and from the gym every day. It's a long journey to get to Alan's place, and that tells you his commitment. He always looks in fantastic shape, and I do like him. So I think we've got a bit of a good relationship. I do like Dennis. I think Dennis is he's a cheeky chappy, but I really want him to do well. I think he deserves it. He's a thorough professional.
Now, you were saying off camera that you struggle a bit with technology, but he was telling us yesterday that you exchange a lot of memes on WhatsApp and funny videos.
Yeah, I have a bit of fun with him.
It's hard not to, I suppose. He is such a kind of, engaging personality, Dennis, isn't
he? He is. He's a really, really, really nice person. I love dealing with him, and he knows what he wants, and he's in a good place at the moment. So I hope he comes through, and I'm quite confident he will come through on the 26th. And then next year is going to be a big year for him, and he really will be stepped up.
Now, we mentioned Fury Chisora 3 at the start. My colleague, Radio Raheem, caught up with Alexander Usyk earlier this week, who's on fine form. I'm sure you've seen the clips, if not the full interview. Calling Tyson Fury a borracho, which I'm reliably informed is Spanish for drunk or alcoholic, and telling him he wants him next and he's desperate to fight him. What do you make of all that?
He's got. I mean, look, we was all ready to do it. Tyson was off the booze and ready to go on December. Well, we thought that was going to happen, and then obviously Usyk came out and said that he won't be ready until next year. So Tyson's got to deal with Chisora. If he does that, that fight's not going to be hard to make. They both want it. We want to make it happen, and I think I genuinely believe Tyson has got to beat him. If he does beat him, then I'll go out and get drunk with him.
Brilliant. Maybe both of them. You never know.
I might take him with us as well. Yeah.
How confident are you that Fury Chisora 3 sells out that Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? I know 50,000 went straight away, but some of those will be on the secondary ticket sites as well, of course. How confident are you it will be packed on the night?
You're saying that. I mean, you know, the tickets are sold by Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
They are the people selling the tickets. We're not selling them to sites.
No, but obviously people like bots. Well, they do that independently. Yeah. What I'm saying is, how confident are you the venue will actually be full on the night?
Well, I'm at the moment we're at just over 57. I'm happy with that. You know, we've got a while to go. I think if it had been maybe in the summer, the fight would have gone probably straight away. But the bottom line of it is, it's selling extremely well. And it tells you about the drawing power of Tyson Fury. He's a massive attraction. He's all over the place at the moment, you know, with the Netflix series, with the charity record he's got coming out. I mean, he's just everybody wants a piece of him, and obviously the fans love him. He's a fan's favourite, and it's going well. So how confident am I going to be full up? As confident was when we bid that huge money for the fight against Dillian Whyte. You know, everybody's. I mean, I was reading something in one of the trade papers today saying, you know, it's going to be a hard sell. Well, how's it hard sell if you've already sold that amount of tickets?
Well, I think they're probably saying similar to what I said, in that, you know, some of those tickets have been bought up by the other sites, and then you've got to wait and see. But then I guess that's not your problem, is it? If they've been sold from you, that's done.
Well, I mean, you're saying that they haven't bought 57,000.
No, obviously not. No.
I mean, it's just. I'm sure there's some on the sites, and that happens for every event, football events, everything. Yeah. But I don't know how many there are, but there certainly isn't 57,000, that's for sure.
What is the contingency plan should the weather not be particularly clement on the night, apart from bring a brolly?
Well, if there's, I mean, it's like any open air show we do. It, you know, it happens, and hopefully that's not going to be the case. If it was really inclement weather, then we would move it back. But I hope that's not going to be the case. We'll find out on the night. That's where we are. But I mean, look, as long as it doesn't rain like it did with West Ham when we done Chisora, which it did rain, and that was in the summer. As long as it doesn't rain like it did in Belfast when we did Carl Frampton and it rained, and that was in the summer.
So you haven't got a great track record with the weather then?
Well, it's them ones. We've had all the other ones we've done over the years have been all okay. You know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, unfortunately, I can't guarantee the weather. If I could do that, I'd be a genius.
I thought you were a genius, Frank. Just maybe not in a meteorological
Well, not
sense.
quite. I'm nearly there. If I could crack it with the weather, I'm definitely a genius.
Yeah, well, let's wait and see on December the 3rd. Talking of selling the fight, Derek Chisora was uncharacteristically quiet and reserved at the press conference. Were you a bit disappointed by that? Were you hoping to see some tables flying over your head?
He asked me for more money at the press conference. Now, I'm not paying him to tip tables over and do stuff like that. That's not my style. So that was it. And he said he had a gagging order. There's no gagging order. He gagged himself because he thought he was going to get a few quid extra. But we've done 57,000 tickets. We've done that because of Tyson Fury. He's an opponent. He's there to fight him. But whoever Tyson was fighting, we'd have done well. But I'm certainly not going to I'm not getting into a stage where you're paying boxers huge purses. Then on the day they try and hook you up for more money to say stupid things or try and get engaged, in a false situation. I wasn't going to do that.
What did he say he'd do for this? I'm not going to ask you how much it was because I know
I
you
got
won't
no
tell
idea.
me.
We didn't get to that. I just told him. He actually said to me, what I said to him, we need to really go to work on this show. He said, what, to earn you more money? I said, no, to earn the money to pay your purse. And that's where we got to.
Fair enough. Sounds like a short conversation.
And then I told him to, was it something off? I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, it could be anything really, couldn't it? The big news so far this week, and I think it took a few of us by surprise, even though it was apparently decided last week. We only got the notice from the Board of Control last night or evening, was that Conor Benn has voluntarily relinquished his Board of Control license in lieu of misconduct charges against him, which we were then told isn't connected to the VADA test that came up for clomiphene. So I'm not really sure what the misconduct charge was about, but they upheld it in his absence ultimately. But what do you make of the whole situation, giving up his British boxing license?
I think it's sad, but he's obviously done it because he doesn't want to come under the jurisdiction of the board for a hearing or UCAD. That's the only explanation. I think the whole thing's so poorly handled. I think he's been so badly advised by people. And the easiest way to clear all this up, because all these confusing messages that are going out from his promoter, about the board, legals, and all this crap, it's all smoke screens. The answer to this is really simple. Have a hearing, give and I'm talking about the promoter, Eddie Hearn talking about contamination and so forth. Give everything, turn it over to UCAD and let them call a hearing. And before you go to that hearing, turn over the B sample and see if the B sample's been contaminated or if it's run. That would determine whether the A sample is contaminated. And that will end all this crap that's going down. And that will hopefully give Conor Benn, if he's innocent, like he says he is, then that will determine his future. And if he's not, then he'll have to serve a ban like anybody else who finds PEDs in their system. That is it. There's nothing else. This is not rocket science, this. And all that keeps going on and on and on and was going on for a long time is confusion. It's wrong. It's not good for the game. It's not good for the sport. It's certainly not good for Conor. And it's just nonsense. It's really nonsense. Was it Hearn said it was leaked? It was leaked to the press. He'd failed a test. Well, whether it was or it weren't is irrelevant.
Yeah.
The fact is, it is what it is. So deal with it. Deal with the issue. The issue is, how did that get in your system? That's the issue. Is it contaminated? Easily find that out. Put in the B sample. Had the hearing and deal with it and draw a line under it. That's where it should be.
You famously or infamously worked with a body other than the board to stage David Haye against Derek Chisora all those years ago. Could you see Matchroom doing something similar and then allowing Conor Benn to fight?
No, what I did was legitimate. The Board of Control took away Derek Chisora's license. David Haye didn't have a license with the Board of Control. His license had expired. At the time we were in the EU, at the time Luxembourg, and they still are, I assume, Luxembourg were members of the EBU, same as the Board of Control. And what I did was legitimate and legal. The board said to him, we're not going to license you, go elsewhere. And that's what we did. And it's as simple as that. What will he do it? I don't think he will, because I'm not sure where this Board of Control thing is. But the Board of Control, if it's a misdemeanor or what, misconduct, whatever it is, if they've suspended him, I don't see how any organisation can allow him to box. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of that, but that would be the thing. So it's not the same situation. And Derek Chisora was not found with PEDs.
No.
In his.
Well, I just mean that kind of technical loophole, has laid the blueprint.
But it wasn't even technical, Dan. It was lawful. It was legal. I weren't trying to get round anything.
No, I'm not saying that. But surely,
I know you're not saying
they could do the same.
But what's being put out is like we tried to circumvent something. And the very next fights that both David Haye and Derek Chisora had were licensed by the board.
But it could be a way to get Conor Benn out without him having to reapply for a board license.
Well, they may want to do that, but I mean, does that satisfy the situation regarding the positive test? I don't think it does. I can't see how the WBC will allow him in their rankings. I mean, that's why they had the clean athlete program. So it obviously going to have to justify why he failed a test. And, and it's not, I really do think he's being badly advised at the moment. Badly advised.
What do you think he should be doing at the moment, rather than what he is?
If he has a genuine explanation for this, then it's simplistic. Have the hearing, make everything available, all the details of the test, to UCAD, and supply your B sample. That's it. It's not rocket science.
So why do you think they are advising him, if that's the case, to kind of keep his head down and keep his powder dry for now?
Well, I don't know what powder he's got. I mean, at the end of the day, why do I think they're doing that? Why were they determined to put the fight on? Why were they determined to talk Chris Eubanks into fighting him when he turned when he was positive? Why? They're not. They're questions for Eddie Hearn. Their questions should be directed to him. That's what. Why? For money. That's why. That's as simple as that. That's what it is. There was no concern. It was no one can tell me this was badly handled, and to shift the blame on the board is ridiculous. Are they saying that everybody was made aware on the 23rd of September and there was no dialogue with the Boxing Board of Control up until the day that they said we're not allowing this to go on? Are they saying that they never had any dialogue? There was no talking with the board?
I think as far as the board's concerned, the main thing that people are saying against the board is that they knew early on, but only prevented the fight 2 days before. But we don't know why. There may be legal reasons why they couldn't do anything beforehand.
I'm sure they were. I mean, you've heard what they said. He passed all these tests for UCAD, so the fight should go on. That's basically was in a nutshell what they were saying. Board don't recognise VADA, so he let the fight go on. That's what they were saying.
And then the board said it's not in the best interest of boxing. I think they only said that once it became publicly available knowledge that the test had gone the way it had.
Well, once it became public, it should have become public knowledge as well. And what is about a leak? Who cares if there's a leak? At the end of the day, let's deal with it. Or not for me. Boxing needs to deal with it, and it needs anybody in that position. And let me tell you, I've been involved with boxers who've failed drug tests, many boxers over the years. Many boxers, and they've been banned, and some of them have come back, and some of them haven't. But if they've served their ban, then they're allowed. That's the same if you go to prison. But if you really want to stop this, then you ban them. Ban means banned, and that's the end of it. And the people who are involved in, selling this stuff to them and providing the stuff, and advising it to take it. That's what should happen if you really want to ban this PED use in boxing. And let me tell you, it's not just boxing, that suffers from this. Lots of sports suffer from it and are far worse than boxing. But that's not an excuse. We as a sport should deal with it.
And presumably you agree with strict liability. So even if it was unintentional for some reason, not contamination, because that's a different thing, but, some way of ingesting.
Everybody's got a reason. Contamination, they took something which was in, like Billy Joe Saunders' case, it was what he was taking was a nasal spray, which was allowed at a competition, and he obviously been taking it for a while, and obviously it was on BARDA's banned list, but it wasn't on UCAD's banned list. So that's what that was his problem. That was his reasoning. That's why the Board of Control didn't take his license away from him. Having said that, boxers need to be aware what is allowed, and boxing needs to conform to do this by all these people who are testing, VADAs, whatever it may be, UCADs, all having the same list of drugs that can be used or not be used whilst the boxers are boxing. But more importantly, it needs to be dealt with. And, there are lots of boxers who've failed over the years for different reasons. There are some boxers I know, I'm not going to mention his name in particular, but there's a boxer I was involved with about 6-7 years ago who actually took something you bought over the counter, but had to serve a ban for 6 months. But it changed the way they did things, UCAD. But it's an appalling mess, and it's a mess created by people not being responsible. Because if he was responsible, you'd have killed this day one.
And I'm not sure, I know obviously who you're referring to. I'm not sure he ever complained about it either. I think he was quite upfront and said, you know, it was ignorance, but I'll take my punishment and kind of move on.
Well, I think that's the case, but I was actually, I think unfortunately he's become a victim in this. Now, if he's got it in his system, and like I say, there's some, you know, you can buy stuff over the counter, but why would you buy female hormone tablets? You know, and how'd you get? No, I mean, I'm not being clever or being funny. That's needs to be addressed, and that's what it is. And the only way you're going to address it is simplistic. It's not rocket science. This, and all the lawyers and whatever, you know, they'll all be there running up bills, and he's going to get a lot of bills from lawyers, Conor, and it's unfortunate. But if, you know, if there's a reason and it's a valid reason, then he'll sell through it.
Now, just moving on from that, we were going through yesterday all the shows, like me and some of the other journalists, that we're going to be covering between now and the end of the year. And there's certainly in my lifetime or in my career, there's never been so much boxing in the UK at one time. It's just mad how much is going on. 4 TV promoters, if you include the Zone. I know you'll say that's an app, but you know what I mean. 4 promoters aligned with broadcasters and various other shows as well. Is this a good thing for the fans? Or when shows clash, obviously that's going to be inevitable. Is that the negative side? How do you assess it?
You look at, I mean, there's a case for both. You know, there's an argument for both issues. Yeah, excuse me. Here, and one is, can the fans afford all these shows? I wouldn't think so. But you know, the shows that they want to see, they'll pay their hard-earned cash for them and go along to. It shows that sport is healthy, despite the crap that we've had this year with all this stuff. It shows it's healthy, and it shows that how strong we are as a sport in this country. Boxing collectively, how strong we are. So I'm delighted, and obviously all our guys have got to work. They're looking to get their Christmas money. They don't fight. They don't earn any money. So we're trying to keep everybody busy, which we're doing.
Then when you see a show announced for the same night as yours, near enough the same city as well, like for example, Dillian Whyte, Jermaine Franklin was announced after Parker Ryder for the same night. Do you kind of frown a bit inwardly?
Well, it is what it is, you know. That show, look, whatever happens, the shows will stand up on merit. And you know, for me, having Zach Parker, a winner, in with John Ryder, who's a very seasoned pro and you know, and certainly showed what his worth is over the last couple of years. As I mentioned, you know, I'm not going back to his previous fights and whatever, but he's bloody, you know, he's a tough customer. That is a cracking fight. That's a fight that you buy tickets for. You know, Dillian's comeback fight is what it is. You know, are we clashing? I'm not happy about that, but look, you know, we are where we are, and we just get on with it.
Do those conversations ever take place between your office and their office to avoid clashes like this?
Well, we didn't know there was going to be a clash. I mean, we announced that show, and that was it.
So they don't give you a call in advance and say, well, we're planning to go here. Could you move back or we move back? Or
well, just consider that we were negotiating with them for John Ryder, and they never mentioned it to us. So,
that's a very good point, yeah. Yeah, John, go and fight on their show, but we're going to put a show up in competition, yeah. I bet he was happy.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, what it is.
All right, good stuff.
Get on with it.
Brilliant. Well, Frank, it's always a pleasure. Covered a lot of ground, and hopefully you're back on the scene in the next week or so.